Hello children, welcome back to the class. So today we'll be starting the first chapter in history, that is the First War of Independence 1857. By 1856, the Britishers became the masters of the whole of India. They had come to India for the purpose of trade. Later on, they started involving even in the administration of India. They deprived the Indians of their political rights, annexed the Indian states, and they followed the policy of economic exploitation. So, this discontent burst forth into a mighty popular revolt in 1857. The British historians called it a purely military revolt, while the Indians regarded it as the first war of Indian independence. Okay. So the Britishers called this as a mutiny, but the Indians we call it as a first war of Indian independence against the British government in 1857. This war started from Meerut on May 10th, 1857. What is the cause or what is the immediate cause for this war? It was the issue of the cartridges made up of fat of pigs and cows, which needed to take into the mouth before operating it. So the soldiers had to bite it through the mouth and then blast it. Okay, so the both Hindus and the Muslim soldiers who were there in the British army were refused to use this. Mangal Pandey, a native soldier of the 34th Native Infantry, fired at his British officers. As a result, he was caught and hanged. The soldiers refused to use this weaponry and revolted against the British crown. So this was the beginning of the 1857 war. So let's discuss in brief what are the causes for the first war of independence. So it was not only the cause that we have discussed, that is immediate cause, but apart from that there are a number of causes that are merged together and led to the war, that is 1857 great outbreak of the first war of Indian independence. So let's take up first the political cause. So, under political cause, the first one is policy of annexation followed by Lord Dalhousie. Okay, so here he has introduced a new policy called Doctrine of Lapse, and he made the Indian rulers to accept it. Okay, due to this the Indian rulers got angry and they were felt insecure in the hands of the Britishers. Lord Dalhousie said that if a king doesn't have a natural heir and he dies, then the kingdom would be annexed by the Britishers. So the Britishers had annexed the territories of those kings who did not have their natural son or the natural heir. Okay. The second point is disrespect shown to Bahadur Shah II. Okay, the house of the Mughals was also humbled when the English announced that after the death of Bahadur Shah II, the Mughals would lose all their title of kings and his successors would have to vacate the Red Fort. Okay, so Lord Dalhousie announced that rulers' veto, that is Zenith Mahal and successors, cannot use the Red Fort. They had to vacate the Red Fort. And in 1956, Lord Canning announced that the successors cannot use imperial titles. So even the titles of the Mughal kings also been removed. So this insulted the Mughal rulers. The next third one is treatment given to Nana Sahib and Rani Lakshmi Bai. Bajirao II, the last Peshwa, was under the protection of company, but after his death, they refused to pay the allowances and the grants to the ruler's adopted son Nana Sahib. So he was sent to Kanpur away from Pune. He then traveled to different parts of country to create awareness about British policies. The next is Rani Lakshmi Bai. So we are all aware and familiar with the a story of Rani Lakshmi Bai, how she has been ill-treated, how she has been fought for her territory, Jhansi. Okay, so the victim of doctrine of lapse became bitter enemy of the Britishers. Other rulers also had a doubt in the British rule, so all joined together and they started fighting against the British army. The next point is absentee sovereignty of the British. Okay, India was being ruled by British from England, unlike other rulers like Mughals who spent the revenue collected from India in India. Rather, what they did, they collected the revenue, okay, but they did not spend it on the Indian people. Rather, they had taken to their own country, England. Okay, so thus much of the wealth was drained to the England. Okay, and apart from these 4 points, you can also just go through in your textbook. You have the annexation of Oudh. Lord Dalhousie annexed Oudh to the British Empire in India under the pretext of misgovernance. Okay, so it threw thousands of nobles and gentlemen, officers and soldiers out of job. So when Oudh was being annexed to the Britishers, the people who were there working under the Nawabs, okay, lost their jobs. Okay, so they felt insecure in the hands of the Britishers. So they all joined with the protesters to fight against the British. So we have the disbanding the armies of the annexed states. All such states that were annexed from the kings, okay, from the Indian kings by the company had their troops disbanded. As a result, thousands of families lost their means of livelihood. Okay, so the disbanded soldiers blamed the British company for their ruin and were determined to take the revenge. Okay, they spread hatred against the English by agitating the people. The next we have effect on other princes. Even the aggressive and provocative policy of Lord Dalhousie made the other Indian rulers to feel insecure. Okay, these are the political causes. So you have to go through any of the 3 points under this political cause on the examination point of view. Next we'll see the socio-religious causes. Even the interference of the Britishers in the socio and religious life of the Indians led to the Great Uprising of 1857. We'll see one by one. The first point is interference with socio customs. When the Britishers, especially the Christian missionaries, when they started involving in the socio-cultural activities of the Indians, okay, like abolishing the sati system and encouraging the widow remarriage, Western education, introducing the Western education, and through which the girls are being encouraged to get the educations, okay, that were not welcomed by the masses in the Indian society. Okay, so the next one is apprehension about modern innovations like railways and telegraphs. This is one of the important point. Okay, the introduction of railways and telegraph had also created suspicion and fear in the minds of the people. They felt that these measures were introduced to propagate Christianity. Okay, because so along with the traders, okay, so even the missionaries had come to India, okay, and they felt that these missionaries would to force the Hindus and the Muslims to convert to Christianity. So if someone refuses, okay, who were reluctant to embrace the Christianity would be thrown into the railway engines, okay, or they might have hanged to the telegraph poles. That was the misconception or the misunderstanding of the Indian people. Okay, so over the introduction of railways and the telegraphs. So the next point is policy of racial discrimination. So disrespect and ill treatment was given to the Indians. Okay, so the Indians were not treated properly. The English belonged to the ruling class. and had a feeling of superiority. Okay, so the supreme class, they looked down upon the Indians and they treated them with arrogance and often insulted them, especially the soldiers who were there in the British army. They crossed all limits of decency and humiliated them by calling them swains, okay, branded them as heathens. So, in short, there was unrest and a feeling of discontent among the masses because they believed that the government was interfering in the social order, destroying their religious customs and the beliefs, and converting them to Christianity. Okay, so the next point is corruption in administration. So even there were corruptions in the administrations, like rich were allowed to go away after crime and poor were looted and tortured. Oppression of the poor people were being tortured and beaten brutally and even imprisoned. Fear regarding Western education, one of the most important point under the socio-religious cause. Pandits and the Maulvis feared that it is done to convert their children to Christians. So, Western education mainly concentrated on converting the Hindus to the Christianity. So, that was the belief that the Indian Pandits and the Maulvis had over the Western education. Taxing religious places, even there were taxes imposed on the temples and the mosques, which were new to the Indian society. Okay, so these were the socio-religious causes which made the people to fight against the British. We will continue the remaining causes in our next video. Go through the video along with the textbook in your hand. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Thank you.